Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Sitting at Home with Lynn. And hi Matthew, how you going? Matthew, you're the only person I can see at the moment, but I can see that you're saying hi to Sarah. So if I see Sarah pop on, hi. And I shouldn't be getting notifications, which is a bit of an issue. Apparently I'm getting notifications still. Hi Catherine, how are you? Great to see you. All right, so as promised, today's going to be an Ask Me Anything. So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to pop in. And still I'm not sure why I can't see Sarah's comment. But anyway, hi Sarah, how are you going? Lovely to see you. So there's about 9 people here already. I know that there were a couple of people who couldn't make it. One was Laurie, and she's asked me some questions in advance. Hi Natalie. Looking great. Well, I need a haircut, I think, Matthew. Look, it's getting a bit long in the front. So anyway, look, oh, what have I done? Yeah, there we go. That's better. And as you all probably know, I prefer not to be behind in front of the camera. I prefer to be behind it. So this is kind of out of my comfort zone a little bit, but that's okay. It's always good to stretch your comfort zone a little, isn't it? So you can probably hear my husky voice. I'm still sort of getting over the lurgy, and because I've got a little bit of wind burn happening here from the cold weather. It snowed here today. We had snow falling. It's a pity it's already dark, otherwise I'd show you through the windows outside. It's absolutely gorgeous out there at the moment, and I'm hoping that the precipitation that we have forecast for the next couple of days is going to be snow rather than rain. Oh, thanks, Natalie. Yeah, we're all a little bit self-conscious, aren't we? Anyway, all right. So before we begin, I would like to just mention that for those who aren't aware, we did lose a member of our community a couple of days ago. In fact, I think it was probably about a week ago. I happened to spot a post on Sue Smeagol Smith's Facebook profile that was posted by her daughter, or she was tagged in it, and there was an update today which I shared in the community, and it was very sudden. It was 1 minute she was absolutely fine, and the next minute she was just gone. And so I've posted in Going Places Virtually about our loss, because you know, we all become friends in one way or another in this community, so it's very sad. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the trials and tribulations of travel, focusing largely on the episode, the dramas that I had the other day. But before we get there, let's talk about visas. Oh, I'm sorry, Natalie. Yes, it was very sad, wasn't it? I'm sorry for your loss as well. So before I talk about this most recent incident, I want to talk about visas, because we've travelled now through, let me think, there's Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and then there was Morocco, and then the Schengen zone itself, which was Germany, Spain, France. So what's that? It's about 8 or 9 countries. And every country or region has different rules. Hi Emily, how you going? So our first experience with travels and entry permits was, of course, Singapore, which is really simple. You just apply online within a specific time frame, 2 or 3 days prior to arriving in the country. You do it all online, you pay a small fee, and you're issued an electronic travel permit. Easy as. Malaysia, I don't recall, did we have to do it for Malaysia? I think we did, so that was okay. Vietnam, we had to nominate whether it was going to be a single entry or a multiple entry visa, and I'll come back to that. So we nominated a single entry visa. We were going to be there for 10 weeks. You're allowed to do 90 days, so that's all good. And we knew that when we were coming back, flying back into Ho Chi Minh City, we weren't actually going to be entering the country. All we were doing was sitting in the airport and waiting to catch our next flight. Laos we needed an entry permit for, and Thailand was basically a case of just walk in and almost stay as long as you like in Thailand. I think you go out, come back in, and that refreshes your permit there. So then we find ourselves needing to travel from Laos to Ho Chi Minh, back in Vietnam, and our assumption was we'd be absolutely fine. All we were going to do was sit in the airport, as I said. When we went to check in Vientiane, they said, you need a visa. Now, the problem with that is that we were flying on from Ho Chi Minh City to Beijing to Frankfurt. So we had 3 flights that day within a 24-hour period. We went into panic mode because there was no way that we were going to get a visa. Hi, Cynthia. Great to see you. There was no way that we were going to get a visa in time to travel. We was going to board within 2 hours. They said, okay, well, there's a fellow sitting over there at that desk over there. Go talk to him. We did. He was going to rush through an emergency visa for us at a cost of, I think it was $375 US per person. I could be wrong about whether it was US dollars or Australian dollars. The whole episode was just awful, horrible, and it cost us so much money. And we wondered whether we were being scammed. We had no idea. All we knew is that we needed this. Otherwise, we were going to have to somehow cancel our flight. They explained to us the reason we needed to do this was because we didn't have a connecting flight. We had booked this separately as a separate flight. The original booking was from Ho Chi Minh to Frankfurt via Beijing, which meant that our luggage was going to get checked through. That was fine. The additional part was the flight from Vientiane in Laos to Ho Chi Minh. That was separate. Our luggage was not going to connect. It was going to be taken off a plane, put on the baggage carousel, and we would also need to check in at the check-in counter. So we actually had to pass out through immigration and then back in through immigration again in order to travel. That was the reason we needed a visa for Vietnam, even though all we were literally doing was setting foot in the airport on the other side of immigration for maybe an hour. So it cost us well over $1,000 for that mistake. So just so you know, guys, if you are traveling to Vietnam ever at all, in any way, shape or form, get a multiple entry visa, because you just never know. You just never know. So that was our first encounter with visa dramas, and it's a huge lesson learned. So anyway, the Schengen Zone. Based on that experience and knowing what I did so much reading, so much research, because we were going to be in Europe longer than 90 days. So we arrived in Cologne back in August. We were there for 2 weeks. Then we left the Schengen zone and went to Morocco for a month. We returned to the Schengen zone at the end of September. And there's actually a calculator online that you can use. So you can enter your dates, your entry date and your exit date, and then your re-entry date, and then, when you're planning to leave again. And it works it all out for you, which I did. So it was 15 days in Cologne, then 75 days, and I worked out the exact date. And we actually changed our flights. We had to actually change our flights because I realized that if I left early, okay, the reason we're doing this is because I'm only allowed 90 days, but we have Australia has a bilateral agreement with Germany, which means that the normal Schengen area permit allows you 90 days entry in a 180-day period. That's all. if you cannot overstay that. So if you're in France or Belgium or Spain or wherever, you're allowed 90 days within a 180-day period. Germany's different. You're allowed 90 days, but you can do that multiple times. Because I'm an Australian, it's an arrangement between Australia and Germany, which is fantastic. That's great. But you do have to leave. You have to leave and come back. So you have to leave the Schengen area and return. So I'm doing all this and I'm reading and I'm calculating, trying to figure it out, double checking and make sure that this is all legitimate, that I'm absolutely definitely going to be able to do this. I had a website loaded on my phone for months. Hi Inga, how you going? Great to see you. And Neil, hey, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. So I had this tab for the German diplomacy, the diplomat site. I had it loaded on my phone and open as my reference. I had it sitting there for months, and when I went back to refer to it, I couldn't load it again. I could not load it for the life of me. I was like, oh, here we go. It's not valid any longer. I'm not going to be able to do this. I kept worrying and panicking. Anyway, so then I realised, okay, well, if I leave the Schengen zone on day 83, which is what we'd originally had our flights, my flight, I keep saying our, it's only me that's affected. Richard's got a German passport. He's not affected at all. If I leave the Schengen area on day 83 and come back, then I'm going to run out on day 90, and then I'm sneak it again. I'll be overstaying my permit again. So I changed all my flights. I spent another €100, dollars. So many currencies going through my head at the moment. Changed my flight to London. Did I mention why I had to do that? Because you're allowed multiple entries in Germany, but you can leave and come back on the same day. Fantastic. That's great. And I think I've mentioned that a few times to some of you. So that resets you 90 days. But then I started to think, okay, well, if I come back early, I'm using up my first 90 days. This is how crazy all these maneuverings are going through my head. I'm trying to figure it all out. So I changed the date. We changed accommodation dates. We paid penalties for having to do all these changes. But I wanted to make sure that I was leaving on day 90 and returning on day 90 and resetting my Schengen area entry requirement. All good. So Saturday comes, 30th of November. That's day 90, according to my calculations. Perfect. We got to the airport nice and early, probably an hour earlier than we needed to. The flight to London wasn't even showing on the board yet. That's how early we were. So we went off and had a hot chocolate, and I went and got some cold tablets because I'd spent the previous night using up a box of tissues. All of a sudden I got a head cold, and I'm thinking, oh great, just how you want to be on a flight. This is exactly what other passengers want to see and hear, is someone snorting into tissues. So I had all that going through my head as well. And so then we worked out which, because there's two terminals at Frankfurt Airport. There's a SkyTrain, which is amazing. So we had to get from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2, and we go up 3 sets of escalators, get on the SkyTrain, and it is literally way up. It's like a monorail, but it's way up high. It's driverless. And that takes you from Terminal 1 to Terminal 3. Great. Terminal 1 to Terminal 2. I'm not sure what I said there. And did all that. We got over there. Richard came with me. And we find where I had to go in through immigration. All good. Scan my boarding pass. I had an electronic boarding pass, which is a QR code on my phone. So I had my seat allocation, I had my boarding pass, it was all there on my phone. Fantastic. Passed through immigration nice and early. My flight's at 12:15. At this point, this is what I know. I know my flight's at 12:15, and it's need to be boarded by 11:35, I think it was, something like that. You had to be at the gate by 11:35. Okay, all good, fine. I went through immigration somewhere between 10 and 10:30, so well early, you know, at least an hour before. And by now the flight was actually up on the board. Fantastic, great, I'm all there, I'm ready, I know where my gate is. I've gone and I found a little lounge area to sit down, start charging up my phone, making sure it's got, you know, lots of battery, because I don't have an English adapter when I get to the UK. I want everything charged up, I want my phone charged up, I want my laptop charged up. That's all with me in my backpack. And I'm sitting there, and then I get an email, and the email says that my flight's been delayed. And it says that the new time now is 12:30. Okay, that's only 15 minutes, that's fine. Then I get another email that says the flight's been delayed and it's now 1:05. Fine, okay, I'm going to be sitting here for a lot longer than I originally thought, but that's fine. I'm near the gate, I'm all settled, I'm comfortable, no problem. So just after 12, I decided to check the board. I was, you know, within eyesight of the board. I could see the departure board, you know, just over there on the other side of the room. I'm listening for announcements. I'm hearing lots of announcements for Air China and, you know, all these other airlines. And there's no announcements for British Airways. And certainly no announcements calling my name. So anyway, I'm listening and I can see the board. Then I get up after about 12 o'clock, get up and go over to the board, and it says the gate's open. Great. I head towards the gate. And that's where security is. So there's security, rather than going through a big security area for the whole terminal, there's little security areas at each, like a little cluster of gates. So there were 4 gates in this case, and the security is for those 4 gates. E6, E7, E8 and E9, that was. So, okay, I'm looking at the clock. By this time it's 12:15. I know the gate's open, but the flight's not till 1:05. I've got loads of time. And so I'm standing in a queue for security, and this has to be the most thorough and slowest airport security I have ever been through. Rather than you just sort of going up there and putting your bag on the moving thing, the roller thing, you've got one person being attended to by one security person, one at a time, and they are going through everything. They're not trusting you to do it yourself. It's you asking each individual person, what's in your backpack? Have you got any batteries? Have you got any liquids? So security took, it was at least 20 minutes to go through security. So by this time it's well after 12:30. I think by the time I got to the gate, I think it was actually 12:40 by the time I got my bags back, put everything back together and headed to the gate. And the gate was dark. There was not a soul there, not a single person there. And I just went into panic mode. I was confused and totally confounded. I just didn't know what to do, and I didn't know who to ask. And I'm thinking, where is everybody? Has the gate changed? What's happened? There were 2 security people there, really well-armed security people. Like they had big long guns attached to them, and they were the only people I could ask that. I said, and in German, I said, oh, hi Lynn, how are you? So I went over and I'm going, flight to London, where is it? Where's the flight? E6. And they said, it's gone. Oh, well, what do you mean it's gone? What do you mean it's kind of gone? It was 1:05. I've got an email here. I'm showing them. They're asking me for the boarding pass. I said, look, I've got an email. It says, look, this flight, whatever it was, BA 90 something or other, it's gone. And I said it wasn't supposed to be till 1:05. I should have loads of time. You know, 12:40. I should still got 25 minutes. I still should have loads of time. No, it's gone. It left at 12:25. And I just went, what do I do? I've got to leave the country. I have to leave the country. to reset my visa. I don't know what I'm going to do. I literally do not know what I'm going to do. And I'm standing there going, you know, mumbling, babbling, almost in tears, not sure what to do. And they said, well, go out and you have to ring British Airways. I'm thinking, I don't even know how to, where, how? Okay, how do I start all this? I might have to buy a new ticket. I might have to, I'm certainly not going to get this ticket reorganised because it was one of those cheap fares that can't be rescheduled. Look at my hair. Sorry, sort that out again. There you go. It's back to what it should be. So they pointed the way to go out, back through security. Actually, there was a side door, so I went out and I came to immigration for arrivals. There wasn't a single person there, thank goodness. So normally, you know, for arrivals, you've got queues of people trying to get through arrivals. There was no one there. So I was able to just go straight up to the first person sitting there at the counter. And I tried to explain the story to her. I said, I need to go out and I've just come in and I've missed my flight and I need to go back to the check-in counter and I don't know what to do. And so he started asking me, you know, talk him through the story. He said, you're okay, you're fine. When did you all you need to do, because I told him the date, he said, you actually came into the Schengen area. This is after Morocco. So he deducted those first 15 days. No, I didn't even get to Heathrow, Sarah. This is all in Frankfurt. No, you're not responsible. This is in Germany. This is Frankfurt. Oh, British Airways kind of, you know, I guess they stuffed me around. And I've actually emailed them, but I'll get to that in a minute. He deducted that 15 days and said, okay, so you've still got 15 days. And I'm going, but what about, you know, with the way you've got to add them all together? He said, no, you arrived in the Schengen zone 75 days ago. And here I'm thinking, well, that's not what I read. This is not how I understood it to work. But here's the immigration guy telling me this. So I'm going to listen to him and hear what he says. I said, okay, that's fine, but I need 18 days. He said, well, that's okay. Okay, so get this bit. He goes, you went shopping in France. I went, what? He says, you went shopping in France. I went, okay, so, but isn't France part of the Schengen zone? Like, that's not going to work, surely. He said, no, we're talking about you coming into Germany and you're privileged because you're Australian that we have this arrangement. And this is just completely contrary to everything that I read. My complete understanding was entirely different to this. My understanding was you had to leave the Schengen area. But this is the immigration guy telling me this. And I said, all right, okay, so I actually didn't arrive in Germany until a week ago. So you're telling me I'm fine? He said, yeah, you're fine. I said, so you're telling me I didn't need to buy a ticket to London? He said, yeah, you're fine. He says, even if you're not, you only stayed over by 3 days or whatever. But you're fine. So here I am now sitting in Germany, not sure if I've overstayed my visa, not sure if I'm okay until the 15th, and then I'll be overstaying my visa by 3 days. Not sure when I get to the immigration when we go to leave, through Frankfurt again, because we're flying to Dublin, so we'll be going back to... I'll answer that in a minute, Emily. So yes, we're not sure if I'm going to be legal or not, but according to this guy, I'm fine. I'm legal. So I said, I feel like I want to take your photo and do names, because there were two guys and they were agreeing with each other. Yeah, you're fine. So I said, I feel like I really need to take your photos and write your names down, and so that when I get to departures in a couple of weeks' time, I'll be able to say, well, but these guys said, see these guys here? That's how I didn't leave the Schengen zone. Didn't fly to London, missed my flight. But apparently I'm okay. Emily says, is there a spousal visa too? There is, but we talked to the consulate in Sydney before we even left Australia and asked about the spousal visa. It was such a process to go through to try and get that. I think it was going to take 3 months. I don't even remember. Do you remember what they said about the spousal visa? 3 months, yeah. Yeah, that's right. We're not a resident, so we don't have an address over there. We were thinking we'd probably have to use one of the relatives' addresses, but you know, there was going to be so much involved in trying to get a spousal visa, and we thought, well, maybe we can do that when we actually get to Germany. But it would have taken a lot of time and effort, probably going to for 1 more month, because that's all we were staying. It was not even that really. Neil asked, what's the danger of staying? Did you take that? No, you're not allowed to take their pictures. They said, oh, no, you're not allowed to do that. But the danger of overstaying is, well, the legality of it is, it's probably going to amount to a fine for just a few days. You're married to a man with a German passport. Yes, I realised that, Michaela. And I had a photo of his visa on me, just in case I encountered any difficulties. His passport, before we came, in case I encountered any difficulties coming back in, but didn't even get that far. Excuse me. Rich is saying, I don't know, he's never seen me before in his life. I'm going to be handcuffed to him going back out on the way out and say, here, this guy, here's his passport. It's probably a fine. If you're going to overstay any longer than that, well, then obviously you're getting into illegal immigrant sort of territory. But, you know, this is a few days and we're leaving permanently. We can show that we're going on to, we've got our flights booked all the way back to Australia. So it shouldn't be an issue. But at the moment I'm sitting here like this. Neil asks, how long have you been travelling now? We left Australia, Neil, in January. So, no, the 10th we left, because it was after your birthday. And so it's, January. And by the time we get back to Australia in January, it will have been a year, almost exactly. And that's the date that our tenants have been given to make room for us to move back into our place. So we have somewhere to move into. Laurie has asked before, because she's got a doctor's appointment, wasn't able to make it, but she's hoping to catch the replay later. She asked how Richard and I met. So that was a story back in 1983. We were in the same workplace, and he was a salesman and I was a customer training officer for Canon in Australia. So he was selling Canon photocopiers and I was doing the customer training, and we met there. And what was the other question she had? What have we been doing? I think she asked what we've been doing ever since. And so to answer that question for Laurie, we both worked in sales, and Richard worked in sales mainly in the photocopier industry, but he also branched out. He did cars for a while in London. He worked for Nissan, yeah. And also, BSB, worked for B Sky B for a while, selling satellite dishes. He worked for a company that sold hotel, you know, the little complimentary shampoos and soaps and all those sorts of things that you get in your room in the hotels. He worked for one of those companies for a while. And then after children, for me, I did things like customer service, first point of contact, that sort of thing. How long am I married? Oh no, I think there was a question before that. What did Emily said? You'll be handcuffed and Richard will be pointing and laughing. Yeah, good question. That was Laurie that asked that question. And she wants to know more about our earlier travels in our earlier life as well, but I think we'll leave that till another time. Natalie says, how long are you married? We married in 1987, Natalie. Not long before we started traveling. So we married in January 1987 and we started traveling. Our first big travel was in September 1987 and we traveled for 4.5 years. How long are you married and are you grandparents? Yes, we've got 4 grandchildren. Richard has two grandchildren as well from my stepdaughter. And so that's 6 altogether. So we have, my eldest son has a 9-year-old daughter. My second son has 2 children. Did I say 6? I can't even count. We've got 5. I've got 3 and you've got 2. And then we've got 2 children to Richard's daughter. Gregory asks, is Richard capable of acting as though he's a stereotypical German to avoid raising further suspicions when you finally attempt to leave together? No. No. Oh, well, he can do... Michaela, you're going to laugh, aren't you? They talk like this. I'm sorry, I'm not making fun of you, but it is. The family, they talk. They purse their lips when they talk, which is an unusual trait which is really unique, I think. But yeah, they purse their lips. What else was there? What else did we want to talk about? Is there any sort of questions about how we're surviving with clothes, food, all that sort of thing? I can show you around. This is a beautiful apartment. This is probably the best apartment we've had in the entire time we've been traveling. I might show you around quickly. We won't be able to look outside because it's dark. But we've actually got a really great apartment. The reason that we chose this town was because of the cost. So to get something like this in a city, I would expect we'd pay at least double and possibly more to stay in a place like this. Let me show you. Turn the camera around, I'll show you around. So turn this to there. So I'm sitting at a little table and we've got Richard's gone quickly to tidy up the bedroom. We weren't expecting to do this. And then over here we've got this really nice area. And as you can see, there's the art. And it's warm. I'm sure it's got underfloor heating because there's no outlets or like the heater units at all. Can't see outside, can we? There's just snow everywhere, but I don't think we can see outside. No, it's totally dark out there. Can you see out there? Oh, we can put the outside light on. Look, we've got snow. It's been snowing all afternoon. Look at that. It's all melting now. I can hear it dripping. But that's where we're located. I was going to start my tour here yesterday, but there was a lady downstairs and I didn't want to invade on her privacy here. But that's the snow we got this afternoon. It's cold. We'll shut that. And then we've got, it's got a nice bathroom. Excuse me. And then we've got more art on the wall. I think this is like children's artwork. Oh, maybe not. That might be his. It's really weird. It's really cool. But it's huge, and it's warm. That's the big thing. It's really nice and cozy. Neil says, this is the first time you needed to leave the zone. The other countries weren't part of the zone. Spain, France are part of the zone. Morocco isn't. So when we left and stayed in Morocco for a month, we had left the Schengen zone. But that's the bit that was confusing because my understanding, I'll turn it back. Just turn this back. My understanding was that that even if you left the zone, you still had to add that initial visit, add the days altogether. It was booked through booking.com, Neil. So it is just an apartment, self-catered. We've got a washing facilities downstairs. We've got a stovetop. We've got a little microwave convection oven, and I don't know how to use it. So we're gonna have a go and see if we can use that maybe tomorrow. But we don't have a proper oven. We've got a kettle and a toaster and a coffee maker and dishwasher. But we do. Rich is going to scold me because he's actually doing all the washing up at the moment. But that's okay. Yeah, so we generally hand wash. We don't worry about the dishwasher. Lynn says, besides spending time with family and friends, what are you most looking forward to when you get home? What are we looking forward to when we get home?
I don't have any friends.
Richard says he doesn't have any friends.
And family comes here, comes up.
I'm looking forward to the beaches again. Richard likes to go into the beach and swim, but I like to walk along the beach and see the waves and hear the surf and smell the sea and that sort of thing. And I do love our bush. I love the Australian bush. So when it cools down, because I know it's going to be really hot when we get back in January, so we're probably going to have at least 2 months of hot weather when we first get back. So I'm not sure how much bushwalking we'll be doing, probably not a lot. But we'll be getting back out there, and I need to reacquaint myself. There's been new murals going up in Newcastle, which is amazing. There was a mural that I showed you guys on one of my tours by the amazing Adnate that does those gorgeous Aboriginal portraits. It had been damaged, and he's painted over that entire wall with something new. So there's been some new artworks going up in Newcastle, which I'm really looking forward to exploring. And I need to see there's a new train. There's a new train in Newcastle, just gone in. I don't know if any of you remember when I went out to Lithgow and we went to the blast furnace, that there were some trains that had been sort of just put into storage because there was a whole lot of controversy over the state government had ordered the wrong trains, and they weren't the right trains for our train tracks and all this sort of stuff. So they've been sitting there for something like 5 years. The first ones have just gone into use this weekend in Newcastle on the track that we would use, the line that we would use to get to Sydney. So I'm looking forward to trying that because they're proper trains. They actually have USB chargers, and I think they've got Wi-Fi. So that's exciting. And they've actually got the electronic boards that show you the route, which is fantastic as well. Neil says, how do you arrange to get the keys and such? Every place is different, Neil. So in this case, the guy who owns the apartment actually runs a restaurant just downstairs. And so through WhatsApp, through booking.com, you get the phone number. I contacted him through WhatsApp when we were on the train on the way here, and he said meet him at the restaurant. That was nice. We got there, it was freezing cold, and we got 2 free hot chocolates when we got there. And he brought us over and showed us around the place and gave us the keys. Normally though, it might be something like, it's a self-check-in process. So it might be a lockbox on the outside somewhere, attached to, in Toledo was attached to like a bollard in the street. And we had to find the lockbox. We get the code to open the lockbox, and we get the keys out to access the unit. In San Sebastian, it was a key code on the outside of the door, so an electronic key code that we used. So there's lots of different ways that, so each time you go to a new place, you have to look up the instructions and make sure you know what you need to do to access the place, to get access. Emily says, me too, I'm missing the beaches. I'm really, really looking forward to getting back and taking you guys back to the beaches. Gregory says, perhaps you'd be looking forward most to being able to put your feet up on the table after your walks. Are you saying we don't put our feet up on the table here? Actually, we don't. But we do have little footstools. Sarah says, you'll need time to adjust first. What with jet lag when you get back home, surely. Oh, look, we've got a ton of things. First of all, after I'd already booked my flight via the US, via California, in order to see my brother and catch up with him on the way home, we then discovered that he has booked a flight out to Australia to visit the family at the same time as we get back. So I could have just skipped California completely and just gone the cheap way home, because via Asia instead of America is so much cheaper. It's costing us a fortune to go home via America. But that's okay because we catch up with Annette while we're there. So we'll catch up with Brad and then we'll catch up with Annette. When we get back home, we have to refurnish our house. We have to buy everything. We have to, because we gave everything away. There was no point putting it into storage. Wouldn't be the first time we spent a lot of money having stuff in storage. So, yeah, that's true. We're going to miss New Year's Eve, which is really interesting because we're crossing the date line on the way back. We leave America on the 30th and we arrive in Fiji. We're stopping over in Fiji because we just cannot stand anything longer than about 10 hours flying. So we're stopping over in Fiji for a couple of days to regroup and then on to Sydney, which is only another 4 hours. But we crossed the date line and that means we've completely missed New Year's Eve. So we leave on the 30th and we arrive in Fiji on the 1st. And it's a cheap accommodation. We probably expect to find the pool with floating revelers at 6 o'clock in the morning when we arrive in Fiji. Okay, Emily says, so you let your flat unfurnished? Yes. Yeah, it was brand new. So the young couple that moved into it moved into a completely brand new, never has been lived in before, little granny flat. It's 2 bedroom with 1 bathroom and an extra toilet in the laundry. And it's only small. I don't know if you guys understand 60 square meters. I don't know what that translates to in square feet, but you multiply by 9 roughly to get square feet. Anyway, so they lived in our house before we did. In the meantime, we had moved from the Blue Mountains. We had a ton of stuff in a storage garage for a year. It cost us $3,000 to have stuff in storage for a year that we ended up just giving away. So we weren't going to do that again. When exactly are you back in Sydney then? Natalie, we are back in January. We arrive on the 5th of January back in Sydney. So we're going to be...
645 square feet.
645
Square feet.
645 square feet. That's
60 square metres.
yeah. So if that means anything to you in terms of size, it's only a tiny little place. Some of you may remember that I did a tour. I did a Hago. Was it a Hago tour or was it after Hago? Can't remember. Excuse me. Neil did the conversion as well. Thanks, Neil. Of my daughter's house when it was a construction zone, when she was in the middle of renovating it. She demolished the garage in the backyard, the house. We were living in the house, was that before we went away? That must have been a Hago tour. Yeah, I think that was a Hago tour. So that was before we did the 3 weeks around New South Wales. Yeah, so that was still on Hago. And I took you into her house and it was just a construction site. She had stuff everywhere and we were living there. We had no bathroom. Does anyone remember that? We had no bathroom and we were going down to the local pool to use the showers. Thank goodness it was summer. Yes, there was a toilet, but there was no shower. Richard was using a hose in the backyard that was hanging from the lemon tree. So yes, it was summer. It was summer. You remember that, Emily? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's it. We can cook, which is great. there are no shops as such here in town. There's a tiny little supermarket that has, you know, a few little bits and pieces. They sell eggs and beer and bread. That's about it. They don't sell butter. But there's a bus to Aldi, which is about 15 minutes away. So we're lugging our bags back. We're doing that again tomorrow, out to Aldi again, which means we can only buy 1 or 2 bottles of wine at a time because that's all we can carry. We take a backpack and 2 tote bags and... Oh, Richard says he's going to make a special effort. So 3 bottles on each side to keep yourself balanced. Have a bacon roll for you. Okay. So yeah, there we go. That's it. That's us. Is there anything else? Any other questions? Tours coming up, I have in the pipeline. It's going to be raining or snowing this weekend. So I'm not doing anything over the weekend. The first day without precipitation is Monday, as far as I can tell from the weather. And I've organised the castle tour. It'll be in the morning. I've decided to do it 10 o'clock in the morning Europe time, which I know is not great for you guys in the Americas. But the castle is only open between 10 and 4. And by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's really dull and grey. It's closing at 4. And I just thought if I do it earlier in the day, there's a better chance that it's going to be a little bit brighter. So I'm doing the castle on Monday. On Tuesday, I'm going to go to the wildlife park. Excuse me, sorry. It's gone to my chest and I feel all chesty. So yeah, sorry for anyone that it doesn't work for. Yeah, sorry Natalie, but that's just the time that's going to work best for me. And because I'm leaving my tours up on YouTube, I know that at least you have the opportunity to catch up with them later. So Tuesday we're going to the wildlife park. They have bears. They have bears there. I know we saw bears in Laos, but these are, I think they're brown bears. They're bears. And they also have wolves there. I don't know if the bears are going to be hibernating. Do brown bears hibernate?
Yes.
We'll soon find out.
Yes,
So we may not see the bears, which is sad, but we'll see the wolves, I assume, and we'll see various ibex, and I think they've got lynxes or some kind of cat, and otters and things. They're open every day. So it's not suitable for you, Neil. I know, I'm sorry. But yeah, unfortunately, that's how time zones work. That's how it was for us in Australia, for all those guides that were doing tours in Europe at 3 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, there were so many tours that we missed. Oh, I'm so sorry. I better finish up. I've got to stop talking. Then where am I Wednesday? On Wednesday, I think I might do the lion. Oh, thank you. I might do the lion hunt. And I need to cough again. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, well, if you ever travel to Europe again, you really must come visit us in the Netherlands. I would love to, Inga. And it's just sad that we don't ascribe to that whole, 3 countries in a week way of traveling. We prefer to immerse ourselves in the area and get to know it a little bit better and really experience it. So, are you still with penguins? Yes. For those who don't know what Neil's asking, we have a travel blog or a travel journal on penguins, fine penguins, and I can share that. Where's the best place for me to share that? I'm sorry. I think I need to finish up. I've been talking too much. Fine Penguins is our travel journal. I'll share the link with you. I'll share it on Explore with Lynn. How's that? On the page, the Facebook page. You can grab it, Emily. I don't know if you can actually post it in here. I don't think you're allowed to post links. Richard's taken over the travel journal. He's taken over Fine Penguins because I was juggling a lot. I had a lot of balls in the air. So he's taken over that for me, which is a big help. Yes, he's been doing it daily, so it could take a little while to catch up. All right, I'm going to leave it there because I do need to cough again and still getting over this thing that I've been dealing with for the last 4 or 5 days. You can put it in and they can copy it. Put it in with spaces instead of the dots maybe and see if that works, Emily. Or I don't know if it'll take it just as text. Let's keep that running until Emily tries to post the link for the travel journal in the chat. See how she goes. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks, Lynn. And thanks, Neil. Yeah, we're about to go out in the snow briefly, but we're just going across the marketplace. It's almost next door. Oh no, I can't see it. It's not there, Emily. It hasn't posted. Yeah, they don't allow, YouTube doesn't allow links in the chat, so yeah, that's okay. I will post. I'll just remind me if I forget. I will post the link to the travel journal Fine Penguins in. Yeah, I'll do it as soon as I finish up here on Explore with Lynn Facebook page. So look for it there. All right, thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you for the support.
Yeah, absolutely. And as Richard says, I'm an administrator, but because I'm on here, I can't do it. Although I've got the laptop over there. No, it's okay. I can't get on to. Let's not complicate things. I should make Richard an administrator so he can go onto YouTube while I'm doing things like this. Lucky he wasn't drinking anything when I said that. No, that didn't work either. So they obviously know what com means, .com or whatever. So yeah, that's all right. No problem. Thanks for trying, Emily. That's great. And thank you to everyone who supports me. I really do appreciate your help. If I don't always get to buy me a coffee or to you individually on PayPal to say thank you, please, I intend to get to you eventually, to each and every single donation. It's just that sometimes I get a little bit overwhelmed with everything else that's going on. But please, I do absolutely, totally appreciate all the support that you give me. We are very, very grateful. All right. I've been saying I'm going to finish up for too long now, so I really am going to finish up now. And thank you everyone for coming along. I'm grateful. I thank you, and I do love having you on every single tour that you come along to. So let's leave it there. We're going to go and we might try this little bar. I'm going to put on something really, really, really warm and wrap myself up, and then we'll go across the road. Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Yeah, I'm on the mend, Sarah. I feel a lot better than I did 2 or 3 days ago. Much, much better. And I think I've still got a little bit of healing to go yet.
But I'm really healthy, if anybody's asking.
No one's asking. Okay, bye everyone.